Generation X. In general terms, those born between 1965 and 1980. Latchkey kids, independent, existentialism, modern philosophy focusing on personal experience, human ability, and responsibility in an otherwise meaningless universe. We're the cause. This is the effect. We're the Gen X-istentialists. Welcome into the Gen X-istentialist podcast. My name is Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
And for anyone wondering, last week Bunny brought up the Shia LaBeouf video where he is screaming maniacally, "Just do it," and going on a rant. During the break in recording, Bunny played me the video, or at least part of it, and it was shocking.
Motivational?
It's just bizarre. And the thing is, it is in front of a green screen. Mm-hmm. And so I'm picturing, like, we take that and use the green screen and put all sorts of... I can't imagine that people haven't done that.
Oh, it's been done.
Okay.
This right. Video is probably at least 4 or 5 years old. So.
Oh, okay. All right. So I can go out and search that and
I'm
find
sure
what people
find
have done.
That's all over the place.
That's a beautiful thing. So this is a show, as you may or may not know, where we spin Mega Wheel the Magnificent and come up with a topic and expound upon it for however long it takes from a Gen X perspective. And so I will spin Mega Wheel over 1,400 topics. And our first one is as Mega Wheel slows down. And I'm doing a poor William Shatner impersonation. What is your, Bunny, greatest accomplishment?
Greatest accomplishment?
Waking up and taking a shower. Going back to last week's episode.
Kidding. Ask my wife. I never shower. So I'm turning into a caveman as we speak. Oh, boy. Greatest accomplishment. I don't really know if I can give you just one. Yeah, it's
kind of a really broad question.
Because I always feel like accomplishment feels like something that you personally work toward.
Yeah.
And you strive and you achieve. And so many of the joys in my life are things that I've done communally with others.
Yeah.
And really everything is so ephemeral. I mean, in this life, that accomplishments, at least in my world, goals, accomplishments, they're only fleeting successes or wins, shall I say, that...
they're touchstones on your way to something else.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm always, even when I get to the goal, I'm always thinking what the next goal is and where I need to move forward. So I don't really celebrate my accomplishments as much as I probably should. So I know it's a real cop-out answer, but I don't really consider a ton of stuff in my life an accomplishment per se.
Yeah.
It's all, like you said, milestones.
Yeah. Yeah, so. Exactly. I kind of feel the same way. Everything that I would name as an accomplishment has been teamwork. There have been other people involved. It's not really my accomplishment. It's group efforts. It's bands recording things and putting them out, doing gigs, even like poetry and stuff that I've published. Lots of times I've asked people to edit and take a look at stuff before I've sent it out, things like that. Yeah. In general, there's very little that you can do in life that is best done solo. And so when you talk about accomplishments, they're usually group efforts. And that's not a bad thing because, to get through life, you kind of have to do the teamwork thing. It's ingrained. It's just part of it. Unless you're like a sniper.
Yeah.
Something like that.
A boxer or something.
But even a boxer, you've got managers and trainers and stuff like that.
Sure, but you're the one in there beating the other guy to the pulp.
Yeah. Or getting beaten to a pulp.
This is true.
Depending.
You're always one of them.
So we will give Mega Wheel the Magnificent another spin. And, dude, the face that you put on the wheel is just haunting.
She is corpulent.
She landed on her side again as it's slowing down.
Give her a break. That's a lot to move around.
Okay.
1,400 topics.
I just love the way this question is phrased.
Oh, okay.
How would you like people to experience you? What kind of person do you want to be in the world? That sounds like it should be two different topics.
No,
let's stick with...
I get it. I mean...
How do you want people to experience you?
Well,
like amusement park ride? Or like a museum exhibit? Or...
like something you gently insert? No, not really.
That's where I was hoping it was going.
Well, asking you will receive. I think it's pretty simple. I mean, how do I want people to experience me? I want them to experience me through entertainment. I want people to listen to me on podcasts. I want to entertain people on videos. I want to make people laugh through puppetry. I want to write things that make people think or smile or cry or stuff like that. That's how I want people to experience me. I don't think you have to be here in the flesh to experience someone. I think you just need to see their soul in one way or another, an aspect of their soul. And that's something that, I mean, there are people who were wearing robes in Greece who still touch us today, and we still experience people like Socrates or
Seneca.
Marcus Aurelius or Caveman Joe, or whatever, Boy, that pictograph is really awesome. That petroglyph really got me hard. No, it's people, that's how I want people to experience me, is through my heart. And I express my heart and my sense of humor and stuff through my entertainment.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I'm right there with you. To experience me, read something I've written, listen to something I've recorded, listen to the podcast. That's pretty much me. And the kind of person I want to be in the world is someone that adds to it positively, through those creations, hopefully through my interactions with people, through my job. That's the kind of person, someone that's had a positive influence, not somebody that argues for the sake of arguing, not somebody that is always looking for the divisive path.
You mean the average Facebooker?
Yeah, basically.
Okay.
I don't want to be that. I want to be someone that listens. I never want to argue, but I will debate as long as we stay on a decent level. I can talk to anybody. But it seems like, especially online, because there's so many keyboard warriors, people jump bad with you without even knowing what you're talking about. And that's not the kind of person I want to be. I want to be, someone that listens, someone that pays attention and cares. And that's how I want people to know me.
Cool.
So
it wasn't such a hard question after all.
Yeah, it wasn't hard.
Take that, Mega Wheel.
And Mega Wheel spinning now from the side slanted position. Oh, she's going to end up on her head this time. That can't be comfortable.
Yeah, compression fracture.
At all. Yeah, done. Okay, this is a great topic. Have you ever waved at someone thinking you know them, only to realize they're the wrong person?
Oh, of course.
What do you do in that situation?
That's how you meet new people, though. I mean, isn't it? I love the idea. I've always loved the idea of being the person that makes the other person uncomfortable. It sounds terrible, but it's knowing their fate before they do. So if you ever get into these embarrassing situations where you say hi to somebody, or Lord forbid you go up behind them and hug them or something, thinking they're someone else, or say something relatively inappropriate, but as an inside joke or something to someone, and it turns out not to be them. It's a perfect opportunity to just put on your confidence pants and be like, hey, how's it going? I'm really sorry. I thought you were somebody else, but what do you think about this? And, you might meet a new friend that way. You might meet a new lover that way. You might meet your worst enemy that way. But that's all part of the fun of it, isn't it?
I guess. I mean, I have done that, waved to people and found out, oh, that's not who I thought it was. Mm-hmm. And the interesting thing is, when they wave back, and they don't know you, but you waved at them, and now you're like, the social contract has been initialed. A check mark has been put in the social contract.
Sure.
You have to interact at that point. And it's usually like, hey, I thought you were this person. Oh, no big deal. What are you doing here? And like you said, you get to know somebody else. And the weird thing for me, my wife and I moved back up here, 10 years ago. In August, it'll be 10 years ago we moved back to where we're at. And we lived down south for about 13 years. Not way south, but south of where we're at. It makes sense to you. You know where we're talking about.
Yes.
Down there, where typically Southern hospitality is what you hear about, hardly anybody waved at each other, like in cars and stuff when you passed people, even in the neighborhood.
I'm shocked.
And literally, where we're at here, like in the studio, you pass by a car going down the road, we wave at each other.
Of course.
I know people in cars. I don't know which house they live in on the street, but I know them in their car. Mm-hmm. And it kind of took me by surprise when we first moved in. Like, people are waving at me like, who the fuck are you? And now I've gotten used to it again, because that's kind of the way it is up here. And it's really kind of nice, because most of these people I've never talked to before, but I know them and I know their cars. And if I saw them like broken down, like trying to change their tire, I'd stop, just because I've waved at them and I know their cars and they live near me, so I'm going to help.
Sure.
So it's really a weird kind of thing. Just a simple act like a wave. Mm-hmm. It won't necessarily connect you, but it makes you feel an interconnectedness with your surroundings and with people around you, and I think that's a good thing.
It's an immediate indicator of the kind of people you're around.
Yeah.
If you get a really dirty look, or you start to feel a little menace from someone you wave at, you know you're in the wrong neighborhood, or you know you're in a situation where you might have to fight or flight.
Yeah.
But perfect example, I credit all this to Bob, my father, my late father, who my mother used to just shudder at the fact that he could talk to anyone, that he was anybody's friend, and I swear I picked this up from him.
Yeah.
Perfect example, we were talking about a crazy grocery store we have in the area called Jungle Gems.
Yes.
Which is an international market. It has all sorts of animatronics and weird crap inside of it. It's like a amusement park with food.
It's awesome.
An amusement park grocery store. We were sitting at one of these just a couple of weeks ago, and we were sitting at a little restaurant. And we were looking out across the way inside of the grocery store, and there was an old man sitting by himself, nursing a cup of coffee and just watching people. And we sat there the whole time, and our eyes met a couple of times, because I was looking across the way, and he was kind of looking, and I was telling my wife, I'm like, well, it's really sad, that I wonder, like, what's the story there? Like, he's been sitting there for a half an hour now. He's not waiting for his wife or a friend or something to come pick him up. Yeah. He's just by himself. And I said, somebody stop and talk to him. And I knew she was like, oh, God, here we go. So we went and got a cart, and the first thing I did was walk over and say, hey, how you doing today? And he's like, oh, I'm doing great. And we sat down. And I had this quick conversation with this gentleman about how he was there just to people watch, because he's like, I'm retired, and I just like to watch the people. And you could see some weird people here. And I was like, oh, yeah, blah, blah, blah. And it was one of those things where it's like, it doesn't hurt you to be kind. It doesn't hurt you to say hi to a stranger. It doesn't hurt you to wave to a stranger. You never know who you're going to run into. And
it doesn't matter their background, political affiliation, or anything like that. You're just talking to another human being.
Hey, if you feel compelled to approach someone who seems approachable, don't worry about it. Just go say hi. The worst that could happen is they could tell you to fuck off, or they could just ignore you. And if that happens, who cares? Just move on.
Or they could knife you.
That's true.
It's always a possibility.
Hey, that's part of the gamble, right?
Yeah.
That's what makes life exciting. That's your Mega Wheel the Magnificent.
Exactly.
Are you going to get stabbed today?
So spin the wheel, take a chance. That's or as Hunter Thompson would say, buy the ticket, take the ride.
There you go.
See how it goes.
Always carry a tampon on you, because you can push it inside of a puncture wound or a gunshot, and you won't bleed out as quickly.
See, here on the Gen X-istentialists, we try to give you actual practical empirical things that you can do to help you when you take our advice and you go out and meet strangers. Just in case, put a tampon in your survival pack. It may save your life, kids.
That's true.
And so, moving on, spinning Mega Wheel of Magnificent for a new topic and trying to slowly undig ourselves from that last one. The new topic is, have you ever tried to look cool in front of someone and failed? It's a daily occurrence for me.
Yeah, hi, I'm Bunny. This is my life story. No, I think everybody has. If you're not a complete, weird autist or something who doesn't interact with anyone, I think at some point in your life, you've tried to look cool, or you've tried to do things to impress someone you're interested in, or just a group of people that you want to be friends with. And sometimes it doesn't work. It's no big deal. You'll learn in life. By the time you hit our age, if you haven't lost any of your, concern about that, you're doing something wrong. I mean,
yeah.
I have no. What do you even say? I mean, there's no. I don't want to say self-respect, because I have plenty of self-respect, but
it's not self-respect. It's just you have to know how to laugh at yourself.
Yeah,
if you can't laugh at yourself, you can't have fun in life.
Shame. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh, yeah.
It's like if you haven't lost all your shame by the time you're in your 50s, boy, sponge baths in your 70s are going to be very hard.
Yeah. It's one of those things. Have I ever tried to look cool in front of someone and failed? Obviously. Anybody listening to this that knows me will probably immediately go, dude, you're not even close to cool anyway. So, stop trying. But it's one of those things where once you let go of being uptight about things like that, number one, especially if you're a performer of any kind, if you ever get on a mic, get on a stage, get up in front of people, you will at some point fail. And it's all a matter of how you handle it. Accept it. It's going to happen. You're going to flub a note. You're going to miss a line. It's just part of the biz. Sometimes you're going to wear a garbage can and have people throw stuffed animals at you.
This has happened.
It's just part of the gig.
Mm-hmm.
And accept that and revel in it and be able to laugh at yourself. It will make your life so much better and easier because it makes those things fun when they happen.
Hey, nothing is more endearing to another actual human being. I'm not talking about NPC bots out there or whatever. But nothing makes you more endearing to an actual human being than just being human.
Yeah, absolutely. Because we've all been there. We've all tried to look cool and failed. So when you do, accept it, deal with it, and move on.
Suck it up, Francis.
Francis. And spinning Mega Wheel for our final topic for the day here on the Gen X-istentialists podcast. Thank you, everyone, for joining us, by the way. We appreciate you checking in. Leave us a comment here on the Mixcloud page where you're probably listening to this. And our last topic for the day, we should have had this when Dr. Pam Menges was here with us. Very simple, 5 words. Bunny, do you believe in aliens?
Do I believe in aliens? Sure, why not?
No expounding upon it? Or?
I figure if the universe is as big as we believe it to be, then there has to be some mathematical evidence that there's got to be other things living out there.
Yeah.
I hope it's something cooler. I hope it's cooler than bacteria floating around in like Ganymede Sea or whatever. And I hope it's a lot less cool than aliens and predators. I hope it's somewhere in between. More like an E.T. from 1982. I can handle that. I don't want some killer cyborgs or some unholy monsters to come down and eat me. But, I hope it's somewhere in between. Something that's a little more handleable for my psyche.
Yeah, I do. The problem that we have with aliens, I believe that there are other creatures, other sentient species out there that we would call aliens, beyond single-celled organisms and things like that may travel on asteroids and comets. But the problem is the expanse of space and the time it takes to get anywhere. A couple million light years, even if that civilization is, where we're at right now, by the time they would get here, everything's advanced. Like where we're at on our evolutionary scale, another alien species may be thousands of years ahead of us.
Or behind us.
And that's the thing. I think the general evolution of any creature, any sentient creature, is going to be on such a wide-ranging time scale. But I think that's also one of the things that makes it more likely that they could visit here because of technological advancements. Can we bend space-time in such a way that will allow us to kind of fold things and get to different places quicker? I'm jumping back to things we talked about in philosophy and science back in 1994 at this point, when we were watching interviews with Bob Lazar and stuff like that. So
I tell you, this is going to sound really stupid, but I have an irrational hatred for the whole concept that of light years. It pisses me off to no end. It doesn't. I know it makes no scientific sense, but I hate the concept that, it's so far away that the star you're seeing is already gone or whatever. For some reason, that just pisses me off on a soul level.
So when you consider the fact that the starlight we see at night is billions of years old, and those planets, those suns,
it's infuriating.
May have burned out.
I don't know why.
May have burned out already.
Well, it's just this dumb idea of it's like, if I decide to go on an intergalactic, light year cruise or something, when I come back, my family will be 45 years older, but I won't have aged more than a year.
Oh yeah, by the time you get back, our sun will have expanded, and the Earth is gone.
I hate that.
But you had a nice vacation, right?
Oh God, yeah. I don't know. For some reason, just on a complete cellular level, that busts my butt. I don't know. Doesn't make a lot of sense, but.
It's hilarious that I've known you this long and still finding things that infuriate you.
Wow, it's like a never-ending gobstopper.
It's a
cornucopia.
It's a cornucopia. I just keep pulling things out.
I'm telling you,
the most random, odd things.
It bugs the hell out of me. It's like, well, nobody's ever going to get together if that's the case. And look at the improbability of people getting together across the galaxy because everything fucking sucks because of this stupid time-space
But that's the
problem.
whole thing. Once you're able to bend it and work things in a different technological forum, it makes sense. And we can do it.
We can't even figure out basics of biology and humanity at this point in our evolutionary scale. How the hell are we going to bend space-time anytime in the future?
Consider how young humanity is, though.
I know.
Consider the advancements just in our lifetime, in our 50, well, for you, 51 years, my 50 years. Just consider the advancements that we've had. Mm-hmm. They had communicators in Star Trek. We've got cell phones that do the same thing and more.
Yeah.
So we've come a long way. But the thing with that, consider at what point our sun will expand and engulf the Earth. Everything evolves. Everything atrophies. Is it possible? It completely depends on the galaxy, the solar system you're in. Is it possible for any sentient species to advance to the point of having interstellar travel in the time they may have available before their sun goes supernova?
Yeah. It's pretty unlikely.
Yeah, that drops drops the initial probability we talked about much lower.
The way I like to look at this whole aliens visiting Earth thing, unless it's completely accidentally, is think about your backyard right now. Mm-hmm. Push the universe into your yard.
There's plenty of room.
Yeah.
We'll have to cut down a couple trees, but we've got room.
Exactly. But think about 50 yards into your backyard somewhere. Mm-hmm. There's life going on back there somewhere. Maybe it's lichen, maybe it's worms, maybe it's something. Yeah. Do you ever think about that? Or do you ever go back there and explore that one fallen log 50 yards away? Or do you just get on with your life here and worry about,
well, a little bit of both.
Taking a shower and playing bass, it's like
remembering to take my pants off before I shower.
Exactly. That's, though there are lifetimes of things living and dying out there in the distance somewhere that you don't know anything about and you don't think about.
Because they're light years away.
Exactly.
Millions of light years away.
So that's
well,
why.
Have you ever watched any of the videos where people like take a model of the sun and the Earth and all the planets in our little solar system and actually put them the same distance, like what's the word I'm looking for? The approximate distance. So like the sun is a foot wide, a foot in diameter. Set it down on the floor.
And then drove a mile.
And then
down
drive
the road,
like a mile, and that's where planets start.
Yeah.
And you can't even see them. And that's the thing I think we don't understand, because we see pictures like drawings in books of the solar system. You can see everything. If you've ever used a telescope at night and tried to look at Saturn or Jupiter or Mercury, they're tiny. The amount of empty freaking space in space is unfathomable. And just think about that. When you turn on the light switch, the lights come on. It's, to us, immediate. The light year is the amount of time it takes that same light that's immediate to us to travel, how far it can travel in a year. It's an amazing amount of distance. It's literally hard to comprehend. And the distance between us here on our tiny little planet and the next closest that may have life on it, I love thinking about stuff like that, because
I don't think you have to worry about aliens visiting anytime soon. That's what I'm getting from this.
I don't know. Again, depending on their technological evolution.
Unless they've come from inner Earth. Dun, dun, dun.
I think it's possible. I think it's very plausible.
Sure, anything's possible.
But the thing is, it also makes you think about, and for me, this is the big key, how petty and disturbingly asinine so many of our concerns are here on
Why
this
even
planet
listen to this
right
show?
now. Literally,
I know.
When you think about light years, do you believe in aliens? Anything like that? There's so much better work we could be doing here. So much better science we could be doing. We could be helping each other so much more. And we have people arguing about taxes, and people arguing about, should people have enough money in their paycheck to be able to buy food? Yes. What kind of moron? It makes you really look at things in a different light. That's all I'm saying.
All right.
And that's our goal here on the Gen X-istentialists, is to make you rethink your life, everybody.
Yeah.
We'll catch you next week. My name's Scott.
And I'm Bunny.
Have a good one.